Hi there guys, Sam here, welcome back to another video. You join me going through the new Audi RS3 and we kind of have some latest information as of the 21st of June. Around the car, so a little bit more details about it, what it's all about. And yeah, let's get into this topic. So yes, welcome back to another video. I hope everyone is all well. Now, similar to I basically posted a community post on my channel, a bit of a community channel here. Generally talk about VAG group cars, and the Audi RS3 was one that came up. So I've asked you guys to just comment on what you think about it, and I'll go through those as well shortly in the video. But I wanted to go through some main points and just kind of briefly outline what the differences are, what improvements you're expected to see, and kind of how much it's going to cost. So here we go, and obviously the main title, this is off Top Gear, is the fact that it does 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds and it has a proper drift mode. Now this car is essentially based on a Mark 8 Golf R. I kind of class it as a Mark 8 Golf R Plus in some ways, except it has that traditional fantastic 2.5 litre 5-cylinder Audi engine, which we all kind of know and love, and obviously supposed to sound fantastic. Whether or not it will sound fantastic with all these filters, don't know. Yeah, so that has it. Now 395 brake horsepower is exactly the same as the last one, so nothing changed on that side. I don't think that's a bad thing, but I guess if you're in for the power gains, then yeah, you might be a little bit disappointed. It's a bit short of, say, the A45S, which is kind of its main competitor. There's some cool images as well, so you can kind of scroll through here. I've already gone through images of this car plenty of times, so please check out my channel if you're interested in those. But obviously they're shown here as well. Still got that 5-cylinder. That's the main part, you know, really hard to keep hold of. But they've managed to just about get it through, and that's probably why it hasn't got the power increase. That'd obviously affect emissions rules, and it'd obviously affect lots of things, and they'll probably start getting fines by someone because it's not as compliant as it should be. Looks wise, obviously the new A3 saloon and hatchback, that's what they look like, and that's kind of always been like the Audi and VAG group kind of way, quite subtle cars, usable cars, but obviously heaps of power. Now, as I mentioned, it's a little bit short of the A45S. Now, the one area that the RS3 has improved on is torque, so it's gone from 354 pounds-foot to 369 pounds-foot, and it's spread over a wider range, so that's something you'll notice. It says not 16 3.8. In reality, the last one could probably do it in 3.8. So this one might be a little bit faster, or maybe they're just being realistic on the figures. Optional, you can get it to 174 miles per hour with a D limit. And apparently if you pick this RS Dynamic pack, you get a ceramic brakes, and you'll delimit it to 180 miles an hour. It's just ridiculous. It's so quick. It's got launch control, OBS, that's what Top Gear say. 7-speed dual clutch gearbox. It's a pretty solid car, obviously 400 horsepower to have a manual. This isn't really a manual type car. Mentioned about the drift mode, that's just taken straight from what we see in the drift mode on the Mark 8 Golf R with the performance pack. I've driven that car, I thought it was really great, so if that has any characteristics from that, I think that's personally a good thing. So yeah, interested to know that, and obviously interested to know your thoughts in the comments of what you think of this. Are you looking forward to it? One thing that they mentioned here is designed to work with Trofeo R tyres. That's crazy. I mean, they're proper full on. Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, it shows what its intent, at least. That's one thing. Lower and stiffer than before, but I mean, the thing is, it says like the RS3 is 25mm lower than the regular A3 and 10mm lower than the S3. But in truth, the last RS3 was lower than those two, so I don't know how much lower, or if it's any sort of stiffer or whatever better, but they said they've improved a few things here and there. And obviously you've got plenty of images shown on the side, which, you know, feel free to pause and kind of check them out as I kind of scroll through them here. But I really kind of want to understand where you're thinking of this car. They haven't released pricing, but it's going to come out soon. Expect it to be similar to the A45S, if not a little bit higher. I reckon you're looking around 60 grand, £60,000 RRP, depending on where you're from, what region you're from, but that's what you've got to be thinking about before options, before you put the ceramics and delimit it to 180 miles an hour, in which case this could easily be 70, 75, £80,000 car. No problem really, and I mean that's a given. I mean, ceramic brakes are sort of £7,000-8,000 on their own, so you know it can get up to that high. I've mentioned about how potentially expensive the Mark 8 Golf R is. I mean, this is going to be in a different league in terms of price. But it'll be interesting to see who it attracts and if you guys like it. Now, as I mentioned, I posted this on my channel because I like to get your feedback. You know, the videos are for you at the end of the day, so I want to hear what you think about it. And I had spoken about the RS3 before. I posted this exact link and said, you know, what do you guys think? So yeah, to go through these kind of comments. First person said here, the new Golf R Plus looks good as a saloon. What's the starting price? 50k. So I reckon it's going to be more like 60k. I had sort of said before in a previous video it's kind of like a Golf R Plus, and I actually, on the saloon side, I actually think the saloon cars look fantastic. I think they look great. I've just always been a sucker for them. Small saloons, yeah, even though they're not as practical or as usable as a hatch, or even, you know, as appealing, not as many people technically buy them. It's just that sort of traditional car shape that I always like, and it's cool to have it in an RS3. Next comment here is that, is this a Mark 8 Golf R but with an extra 80 PS? Also, I'm surprised that they didn't add more horsepower to the outgoing model to keep up with the AMG A45S. Completely agree. I think it is a Mark 8 Golf R with extra 80 horsepower. I think it'll weigh a little bit more because the engine's a little bit heavier and it's a bit more of a premium car, so they tend to use more premium weighty materials. That's what Audi tends to do. But yeah, I reckon they've kind of got it going. I mean, in theory, the last RS3 was supposed to be similar to the Golf R, but it never really worked out that way. The Mark 7 Golf R, that is. So yeah, interesting. But yeah, I kind of agree with that. And yeah, a little bit of a surprise they're not trying to really play the power game with the A45S, but I think the engine difference is probably the main key. You're getting it for the 5-cylinder over the A45S's 4-cylinder, so that's where it trumps it really. And I think they're quite happy and content with that. And with everything going on, you know, they can't be investing too much, so that kind of makes sense. So I mentioned about, yeah, cost cutting. 400 horsepower is enough in a hot hatch at the end of the day. I'll go through a few other comments inside this one as well. I think this is an Audi that finally ending the horsepower wars. They did the same with the newest RS6. It will also be easier for them to sell all their electric replacements as they're much faster than the ICE versions. Yeah, that's a good point actually, because at the end of the day, that's where the future is. It's not worth them investing in it. And yeah, electric cars fundamentally, if you're just on after drag races, which I'm not as a person, as a driver, and you know, that's not why I buy a car. Yeah, electric cars are going to massively trump these anyway. So yeah, there's no real point of fighting it. You know, a Jaguar E-Pace is faster than a Golf R, to be fair, on the right day. With the amount of torque it can sort of pack down. And mentioned here how someone's not ready for electric cars. I'm with that person there. Final comment here is I accidentally unhearted the comment. Cracking bit of kit, but it's the price of a 911 here in Ireland. And yeah, I completely agree. If you're paying this kind of money for the car, you know, it's mega money. I reckon, I mean, I'm going to try and spec this car once it's on the configurator. I reckon I can get it 80 grand, £80,000. Yeah, you can find a 992 911. A 992 Turbo S is what you'll hear about on the channel soon, because I'm driving that car. Really looking forward to that around Porsche Experience Centre. So yeah, subscribe if you're interested in that. But yeah, if you're comparing it for that, yeah, 911 all day long. But yeah, there we go. Really overly powered, still overly powered at 400 horsepower. Likely to be overly priced Audi RS3, and you know, interested to hear your thoughts as well as always. But let's end it on a really cool image, hopefully showing the RS3's engine, which I couldn't really find too much of it, but let's just get those twin oval exhaust pipes in anyway. Looking cool, looking subtle, you know, most people wouldn't even know what it is, but we all know. And I think it's a cool car to see. And again, similar to what I've been talking about, like the GTI, you know, this last kind of petrol engine car for a GTI, this is definitely going to be the last sort of 5-pot we're going to see in a little hatch. And yeah, it's great that they've kind of kept it going. It's an award-winning engine. They've revised it over the years. They've made it lighter. They've, you know, improved the power here and there. Obviously sounds fantastic, even if it's a little bit more muted now. I think it's a cool car. Looking forward to it, and yeah, I'll share more details on it once I get it. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think it's a bit disappointing the power gain hasn't increased, or would it not put you off, or is it the case the price will potentially put you off? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. It really does help this community channel grow. Check out my other content on the channel if you find it interesting, and I'll see you again next time. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Cheers, guys.